Hey, cut that stuff out. Do that in your own time. What up, everybody? I'm the wizard, John Zidar. This is On Top and Hot live stream. And as you can see, I'm all alone. Yes, Taylor's not going to be here today. Supposedly she'll be here tomorrow. I think she's weaning me off of her. That's what I think's going on here. She says she's coming. She says next week's Halloween. I don't see why I couldn't be there then. Okay, fingers crossed, Taylor will be here. We might have someone poke in. I've got an open door policy here. As I said, we've got a conflict of time. I put this show on at the same time they have meetings and another thing that they got going on. But if anybody has time, they may drop in here and do some charting for us. Always like it when we get to see somebody else chart. It's always different. It's like spaghetti. I don't care how many places you eat it. It's always different. So maybe not. But I'm planning on doing it all. And saying that, I've got my beep together this week. I have given myself a strict talking to about not changing the page. I don't want that to happen anymore. So every time I say the next stock we're going to take a look at, that's what happens. My head has been trained to turn so I can look over here at this computer and make sure that you see what you're supposed to see. We're not going to let that happen today. And saying that, I hope we don't have a brain fart. I may forget. I can hide from a real fart, blame someone else, walk away. But a brain fart, that kind of sticks to you. You can't hide from that. So fingers crossed, it all goes good. So I see I've got my regular crew here. Man, what would I do without you guys? Swear to God, I wouldn't have a show. You guys are setting me up every day. Velmore, Mark Ryan, the underdog, my trio, right? Every single day, you guys are the first ones here. Speaking of first ones, got a complaint from a neighbor. Heard there was some rustling going on at the front door, some fighting going on about who's first. Come on, folks, grow up. I love it. I'm not going to say any names. You don't have to. Just go to the comments. You'll see who it was. Kishira, great to have you here. Brian, got your stock in there at the last minute. And what is it, folks? I'm just going to ask you, since you're my core group here, what is it with these pharmaceutical biotech companies? First off, they're tough to read. I can't even read them to you properly. So I got to say this drug and some sort of cancer thing. That's not very brainy. And then most of them, because they're biotechs, the pop you're showing me normally is so short-lived, it's done and over with by tomorrow. These biotechs, they have a phase 2 trial come in. Good news, but now we've got 2-3 more years to wait for the next one. So I really don't like biotechs as plays. Yeah, they make money if you're there before they pop. But man, when that news comes out, I swear to God, AI has keywords. And if it hears any keywords that fits perfectly, it just buys the stock. I'm not kidding. I watch news after market, and I have watched, I can't be more than 13 seconds behind the news. And I look at the chart, and it is already up there. And it's like, yeah, I didn't have time to read the news. I just saw this company had news come in, throw the ticker in. So, we're fighting against the wind here. So I've got 5 or 6 stocks all lined up here, and we're going to jump into them and whatever else comes to mind. First stock we're going to take a look at. You see me? You see me? I see you. All right, we're going to jump over here. Got notes. I think you're going to see my notes. Are you? Yeah, you see my notes too. You see everything that's on my page, so I can't hide anything from you. Not that I need to. I'm just saying. I got to, remember, you can see it all. Velmore, my core lady here. She's normally at the front door each day. Not always, but normally. She has brought us BIVI, BIVI, which is an interesting stock to bring because we have been playing this a lot over at Penny Boys Discord for a few days. I don't think we actually played it today. We watched it, but I don't think we played it. BIVI, BioV, Inc. finished today at $2.72. She was up 6%, which is about 15 cents. This is a penny stock on the major exchange. That comes with benefits. You don't have to pay for your transactions like you do on the OTC. you got a lot more volume, a lot more money on the major exchange compared to the OTC by a long shot. You've got a lot more rules up there, which is actually the better part of it. We get burned down in the OTC because they get away doing things down there they wouldn't get away with up on the major exchange. And then last but not least is being able to trade pre-market, aftermarket. Some of the biggest gains you'll ever see are pre-market, aftermarket, mostly pre-market. News comes out, there's nobody there to stop the stock from running up. You only have people who are seriously interested in the stock buying that stock. So they run unhindered and you get these huge pops. Well, if you get in pre-market, get out pre-market. Don't try to carry a run through the bell, because once you go over the bell, new investors have come into the game who don't know nothing about pre-market, and they see the stock is way up. And what do? They sell. So if you're holding it, and maybe it'll come back up, maybe it won't. Why take that gamble? Get out pre-market, let it fall. If it finds a bottom and buyers start coming back in, get back in for the next ride. That's the best way to do it. BIVI, what is she? She's a biotech. BIVI is a clinical stage company pursuing the discovery and development and commercialization of innovative drug therapies. The company is currently focused on developing and commercializing BIV 2001 continuous infusion telepressin. I think I did pretty good on that. A novel approach to treatment of ascites due to chronic liver cirrhosis. That's as far as we're going. They say they're in stage 2 clinical trials. We'll see if we can get some more information. This is a company here in the United States based out of Nevada. So what information did I come up with? Well, let's take a look at their news and see what's going on. What jumped out at me here was there's a lot of shares going onto the market one way or another. They're either public offerings, direct offerings, deals. They've got a closing of a public offering here. Did I see how many shares it was? It was 1.3 million shares and 600,000 warrants. Warrants are shares that take a long time to hatch. 3 to 5 years down the road, a warrant gets converted, turns into a share. So you're looking at about 2 million shares right there. BIVI receives notice of allowance for Japan patent application covering novel liquid formulation of telepressin. Now, I jumped into this. Basically, the patent is about the shelf life. These are pre-packaged syringes with the medicine in them, and they're good for 2 years now, and they've passed their test. Imagine, I had to go through 2 years. I had to wait for that test. Well, it passed, and it's going over there in Japan, so they're expecting something big from that. That happened on the 15th of this month. Is this the same one? BIVI announces closing of registered direct offering and concurrent private placement. I do believe that's this one here. That's another piece of news we've got. This is 2.6 million shares. These are not public for me and you. This is a private person. Somebody else is getting these off the market. And they're selling these at $2.25. We're at $2.74, resulting in $6 million for them. That's why they do this. It puts money in their pocket. They're selling shares to other people and they get all the money. Boy, what a product to sell. Buy our shares. The company also agreed to issue the investors unregistered warrants to purchase up to 2.6 million shares of common stock. The warrants can be exercised at $2.12. The warrants are coupons, like I said, 3 to 5 years down the road, and they guarantee a price. His price is $2.12. He can buy a share. Now, they may be live right now. They may be live, and he could go buy a share that's worth $2.74, and it'll only cost him $2.12. But the price could be a lot higher in 3 years, 5 years, could be 20, could be 100 if they find that drug, which is why people like warrants and biotechs. Because if they do find the magic drug and they get through that phase 3 trial, all of a sudden the shares go way, way up. You've got a $2.12 price tag on your shares, and they're what? $98? How many warrants do I have? Warren Buffett loves his warrants. He makes a lot of money on the back door. He'll come in and save Kroger's butt buying a bunch of shares if they give him so many millions of free warrants. Now, it's free for the company to give away. It don't cost them anything. And they make money when Warren Buffett turns them over. He's got to pay for every birth of a new share, but he's making money. and it doesn't cost the company a bloody thing to do that. So what's that? We've got 2 million over there, 2, 2, 3. Yeah, that's another 5 million there. It's 8 million. So we're looking at 8 million front door, back door. We'll find out how many shares that is when we look. And I found another one. This one wasn't in the news. This one is in the most recent filing, October 23rd. So this came out yesterday. The company entered into another placement agreement with Think Equity. This one is for 2.6 million shares at 2.25. I do believe this is a different one. I didn't see Think mentioned in the other one. So we're looking at anywhere from 8 to 11 million shares going onto the share count right now, which happens to be about 8 million. So it looks like they'd be at least doubling it, at least, which means whatever shares you're holding are going to be worth 50% because there's twice as many shares. You lose value on them. The insiders own about 2.3 million. We get the rest, about 5.5 million, before all those shares get added on. I don't think anything here has been added on. I don't think that's all caught up with it yet. Don't quote me on that. Do your own due diligence behind me. Share market cap, we got about $20.5 million. Now, what was the relative volume on the company today? Well, there was excitement around it. They jumped from about 8 million to 13.2 million. Now, was there any other news there that I had missed? No, I just wanted to make sure. So, the price is rising, and that's not too strange. On the OTC, it is. Nobody likes to see any extra shares go on the market. And when they do, the price normally goes down. But up on the NASDAQ and the major exchange, I see a lot of direct offerings and public offerings, and it'll just start to run. And it's like, but there's shareholder dilution going on here. I don't care. Whatever. If the stock is running, we can make money on it. So what do we got here for revenues? Nothing. It's a biotech. They're not making any revenues. The only way they make money is by selling shares of stock to somebody, us or big investors. Quarterly, we wish we would see the very first one here. That would be magic. Balance sheet. Well, look at that. They got lots of money in the bank. It's not 23,000. That's 23 million. We got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on these charts. 23 million in the bank, closer to 24. Total assets is virtually all cash. They got 25 million in assets, only 9.7 million in liabilities. So we are holding stockholder equity here. That's great. We've got 15 million. And if we've got 7 million, 8 million roughly in shares right now, you would divide that into this. That would tell you what this stock would be worth based on assets. Well, that would be 2, right? Well, we're a little above that right now. And when you double the shares, that's going to drop the value here. So just food for thought, food for thought. Disclosures, I do believe we covered them all. This is probably more shares. Hard to tell. Yep, more shares right there. Putting more shares on the market. Normally these 425s, 423s, and your 8K there, which is probably a deal that I was reading. Right. So that gives us all that's going on with this company. They've got big investors buying shares. It looked like 2 of them to me, at least, which is good. We've got investors coming in who see something in the company. But you got to remember, investors are looking at a company down the road, long term. Me and you, we may be looking at this at a much shorter time frame than they are. So just because they've invested in it doesn't mean it's a great thing for us right now. But if the stock is taking gains, it's worthy of at least looking at to see if the chart's hot, because even a hot chart can run on just a little bit of catalyst. And we got a little bit of catalyst here. All right. I see you still see what I see. How come? There it is. I turned my page and it didn't turn. All right. Let's take a look now. This is BIVI. I got a lot of stuff here to close. Just let me clean up my desk here a little bit for us. Get rid of everything. Ching, ching. Wow. Looking at a lot, weren't you? Yes, I was. Always am. There we go. And we'll make that bigger. And we are looking at BIVI. B-I-V-I. Let's start off with the long-range picture, at least have an idea of what's going on here. See all my supports and resistances here. That's a dead giveaway that I've been either playing it or thinking about playing it. Well, not me personally. Being over at Penny Boys from 9:30 to 4, that's what I do. I am trading, they are trading, we're looking at charts, but because I know a little bit about charting, I help them out. I get these lines up for them so that they know where to enter and exit. That's what these are. Get in on top, get out underneath. And we play these every day. We don't try to go through them all, run up the entire ladder. Heck no. Underneath every line is a payday. So we sell, and then if we want, we get back in. But we lock in those profits. You ain't taking those away from me. I ain't falling down the ladder and having everything fall out my pockets. Ain't happening. So for the time being, because you can't see squat here, I can remove these, and I do believe I can use my Control Z, and I can put them all right back in a heartbeat. So looking at the long chart, 1 day, 1 year, she's been in a downtrend here the entire year. We do have a reverse stock split here. It was a 1 and 10. That was at the beginning of August. The reason that matters, now they multiply the entire chart times the ratio. After a reverse stock split, the stock on this side of the bubble going forward was multiplied by the ratio, was kicked up 10 times. Well, now they multiply the whole bloody chart. I mean, I don't care if this chart goes back 10 years. They've multiplied it. So when you go back and see a high bubble that says $58.20, divide by 10. You've got to divide everything now by 10. It's stupid, stupid, stupid. Somebody 2 years from now is going to come look at the chart and say, I wonder how high BIVI ever was. Look at this. You go look at Mullen. Mullen's had 4 reverse stock splits in a year. It says their high back in 2021 was $3 billion. That's what it says on the chart. It's like, does anybody not see how stupid this looks? Give us the old-fashioned big green bar over top of the split. Leave everything in the past the way it is, and let us see the big drop or big climb after that green bar. It just made more sense. It was reality. This is all fictitious BS now. But in either case, we've been on a downhill trend here, peaking out, touching this 200-day MA occasionally as she's been falling. But right now, this is the only volume we've had. Look at that. We've had nothing over the entire year. Looking at our 6-month, we had a pop. Don't trust that. $42, $4.20. Very short-lived. She was closer to maybe, divide by 10, $2. Isn't this fussy? But she has really not been going anywhere. She's just been laying flat. And here in the last few days, we've had a pop and a drop. And I would expect that, to be on some sort of phase 2 results or phase 1 results, something like that. And I didn't see that. Maybe it is out there. I didn't see that. We got a low bubble here. I do believe that's our 52-week low of $1.04. If a company has value, a low bubble is nothing more than a flashing for sale sign, and people will rush in to buy it. There are shoppers looking for these for sale signs. And when they see one, they'll go look at the company, and they got their ways of critiquing it. And if it passes, boink, you'll normally see a bounce right off of that low bubble immediately because it was a good deal. This one didn't do that. She just went sideways. Thank goodness she was actually crossing all of these MAs as she was down there, so she made headway. She's actually on top of most of them right here. Jumped off for 50, very strong, going from $1.24 up to $7.60. I could see why people are looking at this. I want to know why she ran. This started her run on the 18th of October. Something happened then. It looks like it was aftermarket. It started to run. Pre-market, it was kicking it. In the morning, we had a huge jump, which is really strange. You normally get your falls right at the bell. Not here. She ran, came back down, actually landed on her 9-day. She did poke through. She put a foot down here, bounced off of this 200. But for the most part, she was laying on the 9-day. Laying until she just started to slip under here. Looks like she's coming down to our 200 on the 4-hour chart. Quick glance at our 4-hour. Yeah, she's broken her strong MAs here. She was bouncing on the 200 haul and our 50. When she broke it here, she just lost it. The next strong support is down here. Unless we can see something maybe on a 15-minute she's laying on. No, she's underneath everything. Everything. She's down here scraping bottom, trying to get back up right now. She just got on top of her 9. You can't climb till you're on your 9. Oscillators tell us she's trying to recover, we've got our PPO pushing up and our ADX pushing down. When the ADX and the PPO are separating, guaranteed 100% your price is rising. So we could actually just watch these indicators, and when either one of those lines changes directions, that would mean that she is not rising anymore. I mean, you can look at a lot of things. I'm just saying that's one indicator that will tell you. Doesn't mean she's fallen. It just means she stopped rising. So where do I think she's going? Well, I didn't see a catalyst, folks. So the way I'm thinking about it, looking at the long chart on this, she's just coming back down slowly, and she's going to just go back to her norm. If she stays on top of the 200, we'll be lucky. The nice thing we see here is she was in a downtrend. She started to fall hard here, and right here, she leveled off. And it looks like we've actually got a little bit of incline right now with a couple golden crosses, these smaller MAs coming up over top of it. So I don't think she's going to tumble, but I wouldn't expect any more run out of this unless somebody knows something I don't. That's why we quit playing at a penny bush. She just got cold. When you run out of volume, you normally run out of steam. That's your gas pedal. It's not just the gas, it's the gas pedal. All righty, let me jump back here. We will remember to push that button. Remember, what stock are we looking at? Who snuck in while I was talking? Right now. We will. Don't get touchy. SPZI. Yeah, I see it right now. We might have time for that. ILIS had a great run today. Moon Market just picked up 8.5 million. Are you in or looking to get in? I've always liked ILIS. ILIS was a company that was on the expert, well, not ILIS. The company that ILIS merged with was on the expert market, and Karen Courier saved it. She was custodian. She got a bunch of expert market companies, cleaned them up, paid all their back financials, got their financials fixed, paid their debt, got them pink, put them on the market, and she went and found ILIS. And she merged them with the company she had gotten off the expert market. So she launched that company. I remember when it started. And I have loved watching their progress. They've become international with lots and lots of divisions. They've got spin outs. I think they've got one going on right now. And I have not been keeping up with ILIS. But I did see today she was on scanners and radars a couple of times popping. And I looked at her chart. But we had enough on our plates that we were playing today. MNPR, which is the next one we're going to look at. That was really hot today. But yeah, I love ILIS. I think the company is solid. They are involved a lot with fire, with everything from putting the stuff into hotels for emergencies and sprinklers to making fire trucks, your standard ones and electric ones that go through the woods. They make the hoses. They have virtual reality training for firemen. Imagine that. Fighting fires in virtual reality. And a lot more that I just haven't caught up with. They've got a lot going on. So yeah, I like ILIS. The problem here is, and this is the worst thing to say, the solid companies out there that have good products that are growing, nobody's giving them any love. It's like everybody wants to play wild cards. They want to find a startup. They just aren't putting their money in solid companies right now. So we're seeing a lot of good companies falling for no good reason. They're undervalued. There's lots and lots of companies undervalued right now. It's a buyer's market. If anybody has any money left between the market falling and everything becoming twice as expensive as it used to be, yeah, it's kind of tough to take advantage of a buyer's market. All right, Taylor, we had a sneak peek here. I see you. Hi, Taylor. She's checking to see if I push my button. All right. Thank you for the backup. I need it. All right, let's dive into the next one. The next stock we're taking a look at, I like this. We are now taking a look at MNPR. MNPR, Monopar Therapeutics. Oh, no, not another biotech. Yeah, it is, but wow, not your everyday biotech. They had hot news that came out today, throwing around a big name, and that did it. That big name, I think that company, I think I took notes. Hold on. Somebody said it in my Discord group, and I said, oh, that's a good piece of information. Where are we at here? Yes, Mark Ryan wanted me to look at this. AstraZeneca, that's the company they're dealing with now. Their stock is at $75. This stock is up 600%, folks. I can't remember what we caught this at, $6 or $3, something like that. It was way down there. And when it started to jump, each jump got bigger and bigger, and they're still playing it. They're still playing it after market. They're catching these huge gap bounces. We draw our supports and resistances, and it looks silly. You're thinking, no way it's going to jump from $24 to $32. Yes, it does. Boink. And it's like, oh my God, sell now. Don't ask for any more. And it's like, you actually got in at 26? Yeah, but I had a real tiny stop loss. I mean, the amount of money I was going to lose compared to the amount of money I'm going to win. Should I need 2 hands for that? Oops, sorry. I need 2 hands for that. So yeah, this was a hot stock today. MNPR, MNPR Therapeutics, finished today. This is right now, $32.66, went up $28. So we were at $4 when we seen this first thing this morning. This is a hot penny stock on the major exchange. Okay, so what does the company do? As if anybody cares, we're just playing the charts over there at Penny Boys. But in this show, we like to at least know why, maybe. The company is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. Clinical stage means early stage. That means they're still studying drugs and testing them, which is the longest, hardest part of any drug company's beginnings. The company is developing therapeutics for the treatment of cancer in the United States. And they've got some drugs here that they're focused on that are making headway. I see we're talking phase 1B clinical stage. Phase 1. Phase 1 is the first stage. That's only a year. It's a good one if you get through it. That's to see if it's safe. Can you take your drug and not kill somebody? Do they forget their name? Do they go blind taking it? They want to make sure it's safe. If it's safe, you go into phase 2. This is the tested on people who have the disease you say you can help. Let's see how well it works. Working pretty good. That can take like 3 years, phase 2. Then you go into phase 3. Now we put your drug up against everybody else's drug that fights the same disease and see who's top dog. Top dog wins. If your drug is good, but not better, you're out of here. All your time, your last 5 to 8 years, done. You want to see a biotech fail a phase 3. Watch that thing tumble. And don't be looking for a bounce back for a while. There are some angry people now. So what did I learn about this company? Why was it running today? Well, we've got different drugs that they're working with. Looking at the news here, just over the last 2 months, the company announces positive early human clinical data validating the tumor targeting ability of MNPR 101 Zidar. Also, at the beginning of this month, the company initiated a clinical trial of a novel UPAR-targeted radiopharmaceutical therapy in advanced cancers. Don't know what it is. We can read later if you want to find out. The company expands the radiopharma intellectual property portfolio with patent filing on new compounds and linkers. They're growing. Whatever it is we're talking about here, zoom, 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 it's going over my head, except the patent part and portfolio part. They've got intellectual property. They have thought up answers to problems, and they're keeping them secret right now. And that's supposed to make them some money when they put them into action. The company presents encouraging human clinical dosimetry data on its UPAR program for the ENM 2024. They're reporting good news. Now, the reason it's running, none of that had this stock running. This is what has it running. MNPR announces agreement with Alexion, AstraZeneca rare disease for late-stage Wilson disease drug candidate. I'm sure you've heard the name AstraZeneca. It is a big drug company like Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson. It's a big company out there, and they've got the support of this company. Now, from what I gather, so I don't have to read too much here, the primary reason that the deal has happened is that Alexion had substantial clinical data on the drug that this company has, including a completed pivotal phase 3 clinical trial. A completed phase 3 trial. I don't know how they came upon this IP. You can buy it from other people after it's gone through certain phases. They just can't afford to put it through the rest because it costs lots and lots of money. You got to pay every single month while your drug's being tested in every single phase. So they may have picked this up at one stage. And here we've got a completed pivotal phase 3 clinical trial. The medical data gathered from Alexion's clinical trials furthers our understanding of Wilson disease and stands to benefit this community. And then they talk about up here how they're going to break things down and work it out. But that was the run. That is why she was taken off. And man, there was some activity on this stock. And it wasn't like most stocks. You know, you get runs and bounces. This thing became very volatile, like a forest fire. You can see the fire is moving ahead, but things are exploding in places you didn't expect them to explode just because they're heating up. Whoa! And that's what MNPR was doing today. Couldn't even keep up with putting in the S&Rs. She was moving too fast. By the time I was looking for an entry, oh, forget it. She's passed it by $4. So what was the relative volume on MNPR today? We have an explosion going from still moving. Look at her jump. I saw that from 1.6 million to almost 19 million. I'm sure if I sit on this page for 20 seconds more, it'll probably go to 19 million. We'll come back and see. Let's see what we've got for share structure. Holy cow, look at that, 3.5 million outstanding. You got to take away what the insiders own. They're not playing the game. We don't know how many that is, but subtract that, and that's going to give us our float. The float is what's on the market. Well, we've had how many shares move today so far? Dun, 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 18 million, 19 million, hasn't moved yet. And we've only got, let's just call it 3 million. 3 million. 19 million and 3 million. Every share had to sell over 6 times. 6 times. Now, a prudent seller knows there's a low float. He knows that some people aren't going to sell and some people want. And when you look at the level 2 at the bottom of the screen, I'll show it to you when we get over there. When you look at level 2, you can see the orders lining up before they're active. You can see what sellers are asking for them, and you can see what buyers are willing to pay for them. You can see how many there are. Well, when you see a lot more buyers than you see sellers, and the sellers are spreading their prices out bigger and bigger, that puppy's going to jam. It's going to run. The buyers have the sellers have the market. They have what you want, and you're going to pay for it. And my God, we see some runs. Drug was doing this last week. Now this is doing it. So we've got a super duper low float. Are they making any money? We got zero money coming in. No money at all. Wow. In the bank, though, they've got 6.1 million. Total assets, 7.1. Only 1 million in liabilities. So again, we've got a company that does have stockholder equity. Put in how many shares into that, you get a basis for what this is worth. Ain't that number. Nowhere near that number. So these sort of stocks aren't for investment, folks. You don't get in at these prices because you think it's going to climb. I mean, you do, but you're going to scalp it. You are going to definitely get on that chart and try to find a price above where you think the price is going to slow down. Now, if you're at all-time highs, there's nothing above you. So how do you do that? Yeah, you could use your Fibonacci. You could grab a section where she bounced below and just drag that up top and maybe use that. All you can do, folks, is keep your stop loss. If you think it's a big gamble but a big payoff, keep your losses low. A big gain is worth it if you don't lose too much trying. Don't get stupid. Don't get silly, right? We work too hard for this money. Gambling it away, you might as well go to the casino if you want to do that. Just have some fun at the casino. You can drink and eat and all sorts of good stuff while you're gambling. All right, disclosures. Did they drop anything here I was unaware of? Oh, okay. We've got an SC13G, which is a new investor coming on board. It isn't Alexion. I thought maybe it would be. It's Tango Capital. Sounds like a hedge fund or somebody. They bought 5.1% of the company. You're going to see multiple names here. Tango. Here we got Kevin Tang. Right there is where I'm reading the percentage of what they've got. At the bottom, if there are multiple purchases, that they'll tally it all up, like right there. Tally it all up for you. And they'll tell you how many shares and stuff. I can't see the bottom line tally here, but basically we're coming down to 15% of the company, it looks like, was just purchased up today. Now, that's a big deal. A new investor comes in. He throws down as much money as it took to buy 15% of the company, 200,000 shares. And I do believe that it was Tango Capital that bought, Kevin who bought, who's probably associated with Tango, the CEO or something like that. And then Tango Capital Partners, a subsidiary of Tango. And they each, because of the way they have to work the deals out. But that's good news. So everything is great here. Let us go take a look now at the chart. Not that I haven't seen it, but I wish they had it in the centerfold. I'd get it. So we're looking at a 6-month, 4-hour view. Let's go back a year because you can see my supports and resistances are off the chart. I'm way back here. I had to get these from somewhere else. There's nothing up here. I couldn't get any supports and resistances, and you can see why I quit chasing it. It was just moving too fast here. I could not get any supports and resistances from $19 up to $36. It was moving too fast. Every time I started to write it down, it moved. It's like, let it cool down. Whew. This rocket had extra fuel in its tank. Let me tell you, it really took off. So going back 1 year, still not far enough. Going back 2 years, no, 3 years. Look, I probably had to go back 5 freaking years. Finally, 5 years back, we start getting it. Here we are down here at $37. We are hitting highs here of $40, $84, $104, and there's no reverse stock splits here, folks. These are real numbers, real numbers. It was actually at $240, but that was 5 years ago. Who knows what was going on back then? But this is where I've had to get my supports and resistances. My very last ones came from back here in 2021 up at $41. And I just quit drawing them. The day was ending. And it's like, I don't think anyone wants to try this at the end of the day. So let us come down now and look at, say, the 1 hour. Well, you can see she was ripping. And she's staying above the 9-day. She is pulling away from it. So anytime you start pulling away, I expect a pullback. These are kangaroo bounces. The price bounces, it does not fly. So when it stays above an MA for too long, expect something, a wick, something to come down and hit. And hopefully it's just the top one. If it gets up there too high, it can fall a lot faster. Take a look at our 15-minute. So we had a dip in the middle of the day there. We were running her here. You can see, look at these bars. That was in 15 minutes. She came back down and we had a whole nother run on this puppy. Looks like we got a cup and handle plan out right now, which means she's probably going to run up to here somewhere. Normally the jump is the depth of the cup. So if we got a depth here of 20 to 30, call it $10. So from 30, 40, 45, somewhere around there, she's looking like she's ready to run. Am I going to play her? No, probably not. Not that she wouldn't be fun, but I'm just not in a position to jump into this one. Just for giggles, let's look at that 1 minute. So you can see we had a very quick blast off there, folks. And this support, I didn't lay it on top of here. When I grabbed that support, that came from back in 2021. I couldn't even see what was over here. I was just trying to find something over these prices, something over $20. I found one and I laid it there and I laid one there and it just happened to hit exactly there. So these don't die, folks. Our supports and resistances are forever and ever and ever. So please learn how to draw them. They're very easy. We're just putting them underneath where the price likes to bounce, or the other way around, where the price comes up and keeps hitting its head. That becomes a line. Why? We don't know. We just pay attention to it because it seems to bounce off of it and hit its head and bounce down. And that's how we plan our trades. Get in over top when it likes to rise, get out underneath where it likes to fall. Makes sense, right? All right. She's still running. I don't know what to tell you about this one, folks. Watch her if you want. Maybe see if you can learn something from it. She doesn't deserve to be this high. She hasn't got the value to support it. She is just a gamer's play right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. Pump and dumps. That's a game. It's a game being played against the investors But if the investors are aware of it, we can darn well take advantage of it, because pump and dumps want to run the price as high as they can get it. And then insiders unload all their shares and bring that thing down, while us investors outside get burned. But if you take at every single gap, not on this chart, you take at every single gap as you're going up the ladder, every rung, by the time they dump, you've already got all your money. Pump and dumps are great. I love them. Doesn't matter why a stock is running. Half the time, I don't even know why it's running and don't even care. Every now and then someone says why, and we'll go look, but that's it. All right, let me run on into that next stock. I've been jabbing here. We're going to take a look at LGHL. Let's see. I know, I'm bouncing. LGHL. From the underdog. We are going to be looking at them entering into the carbon financing with a new acquisition. The company has an exchange over there in Asia somewhere, Southeast Asia, something like that. And they're going to start working with carbon financing, carbon credits. Big thing. It's going to be the biggest thing for the next 50 years, for darn sure. LGHL Lion Group Holdings finished today at just about 20 cents and almost 5% down today. She dropped a whole penny. She is on the NASDAQ. Lion Group Holdings is an asset management company. You know, I read this. It says they work with this and that in finances and management and brokerage services. But when you read their news, it says it a little clearer. We've got one piece of news, so we're going to dive into it. It came out August 19th. Lion Group Holdings, the operator of an all-in-one trading platform that offers a wide spectrum of products and services, announced today that it has entered into a non-binding term sheet with Hong Kong Aguana Technology Limited and plans to acquire 60% post-investment equity stake in Aguana Technology. The investment is valued at $4.8 million. Carbon assets are the most promising strategic resource for international development over the next 30 years. People are actually buying trees in the Amazon. If you own a tree and protect it from being chopped down, you can earn tax credits because it sucks carbon out of the air. It's so big, they can calculate how much it's doing, and you can make money just owning the trees. Think Amazon Flores. That's a company on market, AMZN it may be. They own some trees over there. They've had them for years. So, yeah, carbon credits are going to be a big deal. Aguana Technology holds the exclusive technical mandate and a 50-year operating rights for the only authorized carbon rights electronic trading platform in the Solomon Islands, the Solomon International Green Asset Exchange. Leveraging Asia's technological research and development capabilities, the platform also features climate AI-based intelligent carbon emission measurement hardware, addressing issues of carbon data, carbon standards, green evaluation, and carbon asset trading interconnectivity between countries. This offers global carbon market participants an efficient, secure, and transparent trading environment. Whew, that was a lot of words. I didn't stumble through any of them. So they got AI working with carbon emission, not only with the carbon credits, but actually monitoring it, measuring it. This is a big deal right there. I got another page here. What did I find? Oops, bad news. This came in on a Form 6K. I normally find them on 8Ks. The NASDAQ reached out to the company and said, you've been underneath the dollar for too long. You can't be underneath the dollar on any major exchange for too long or they'll kick you off. They'll throw you down to the OTC. Now, they just don't do it. They do give you a warning. You normally get 6 months, called the compliance period. That gives the investors a chance to bid it up over $1 for 10 consecutive days. We can dip under $1 during those 10 days, but at the end, we have to be over $1. So the company ain't doing squat. It's all on us. And if we fail to do that, well, then there's only one of two options: reverse stock split or down to the OTC. You know, honestly, when Mullen did the reverse stock splits, I would have rather she just went down to the OTC and I got to keep my shares. Honestly, clean yourself up, put yourself back up on the NASDAQ and leave my stuff alone. But no, they like to take our shares and try to push that stock price back up. And if the people just don't like the company, it'll just keep falling and keep falling over and over again. Well, this company's already been given one. They had up until October 15th and didn't do it. So they got a second one. I don't think they'll get a third one. That's another 6 months. I do believe that they are thinking about changing the rule so that when you come in for compliance, the period will be 1 year, not 6 months. Bother us. We'll give you another 6 months, which seems stupid to me. If you can't get your price up in a year, God, maybe you shouldn't be on the market. Something's wrong. The NASDAQ has determined that they have now up until April 14th of next year to get this price up over $1. Not that that should make any difference to me and you, day traders. Even if you're not day trading, we're just swinging because we got in a little at the wrong time and she dipped and we're holding it for a couple weeks. We're not going to be in for that long. So we're not going to worry about that too much. What was the relative volume on this company today? Wow, virtually half. She's normally doing 4.2 million. Today she did 2.1. Share structure for the company. Yeah, we got 180 million outstanding shares. I don't know what the insiders own, so I can't calculate it. They don't give us the float. I don't know. It's not going to be any higher than 180 million and could be considerably less if the insiders own a lot of shares. Market cap. Look at that. We're under $1,745,000. Financials. Are they making any money? Hey, somebody's making money, and that's kind of strange. All right, over the last 4 years, remember to put 3 zeros behind these numbers. We're talking millions. They've been jumping. Here's from 10 million to 20 million, down 10 million. I mean, way down, underneath negative, and then way back up to 15 million. Somebody needs to explain that to me. You also need to explain why we don't have any cost of this revenue and why there's no profit showing here. It seems a little incomplete to me. Quarterlies, nothing coming up over here. Take a look at our balance sheet. Well, we got about 31 million in the bank, 74 million in assets, only 43 million in liabilities. So we are holding stockholder equity of 31 million. We've got revenues coming in. I'm going to presume it's profitable. I'm going to presume. So things are looking pretty decent fundamentally. Don't see anything bad there. There's that 6K I looked at. It's the most recent one. I wouldn't have gone back that far. So that pretty much covers everything for LGHL except the charts. Let's go take a look at that. Yep, looking over there. If you're still following me. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Haven't lost anybody yet. Yes, we're there. I can even see comments over here. Let's see what's going on. You didn't know I could do that, did you? Yeah, I'm getting versatile. Belmore, take care of yourself. Oh, that's talking to Taylor. Fine, I won't interrupt. Back to my charting. We are looking at LGHL. Going back. Just to see what's going on. Oh, man, I forgot to put my lines back in, didn't I? Oh, I got to redo all of those. I can't use that back button now. It won't work. I wanted to actually show you something with those lines. Okay, a little spacey. All right, I'm going to leave these lines in. We've got a high back here, a 52-week high of $1.55. And where'd our logo? I like that. Our logo is 1717. That looks to be at the beginning of this month. Where's our date? Yes, the 9th of this month. She's been in a downtrend deep underneath the 200, really not doing a whole lot of anything. She bounced off of the 200 haul here and has just been going sideways, just letting the 200 haul fall away while the 200 MA closes in. And she's just basically laying on the 50, not doing a whole lot of anything. Tough to tell. Now, I would say she's in the midst of a breakout. I mean, she's in the right zone. She's in between two 200s. That's a sandwich. Whenever you get the price in there and the 200s start coming together, it gets squeezed like toothpaste. It's got to squirt somewhere. And if this 200, which is just about ready to go flat and turn up, it's going to start squeezing. So all we got to do is look down here at our oscillators when they start to get close. But me, I don't worry about the oscillators in this play. I wait for a drop down to that 200 haul when it turns blue, and I watch it get slapped on the butt and go through every MA to and through the 200-day MA. Happens often, even on big gaps like this. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen here. But we are looking at the daily. I normally look at this on the 4 hour. That's the 1 hour. Give me my 4 hour. All right, downtrend from $2. I don't need that. Oh, hold on. We're jumping and skipping here. All right, there we go. So we're hitting our head on the 200 as she's falling, putting some spikes through, wanting to climb. Now, this to me, over and over again, she is attempting to climb, but just can't seem to break through. She's jumping as hard as she can. Maybe if she goes a little bit lower and comes at it, the crouch and the pounce. You come down here and you give a good run and jump. This is what we see a lot of times. This normally will get you some energy pushing up, another secondary launch, and boom, there she goes. Now, I'm thinking she's trying to fight. She wants to climb right now. We see all the signs of trying to get up on top. Look at that jump. Way the heck up there. My God. She went from 21 cents up to 41 cents. That's a 100% jump in that 4-hour period. Look at that bar of volume. So you know with this float, whatever it is, I think it was kind of high, 180 million, wasn't it? Doesn't matter. She took off. And that's really the only volume we've had here. All of our technicals are falling down right now on the 4-hour chart. What's our 1 hour look like? More sideways activity than anything, right? You can see our supports and resistances above. This is where she'll start to climb, and she'll stutter at each one of these. You can actually see she hit her head here, she fell back down. She hit her head here, she fell back down, which is why we don't get in at a cheap price down here, because it could be down here for a long time. I want to get in up over top where she has a tendency to start moving up. She's trying here. She ain't got there. But down in history, she did. So when you get up over top of this, there's a better likelihood she's going to go from here to here rather than from here back down. So we always wait to get up over top. And she is trying to get over top of these supports and resistances, but she just hasn't got the volume to do it. She really needs some volume. That's the bottom line here. 5-day, 15-minute, no different. Sideways, she's hanging around the 200, which is the best you can ask for. Your 200-day average, she's just sticking around it, waiting for something to happen, just twiddling her thumbs. That's about it. Let us get over to the next one. What time is it? 4:52. We're doing okay. Can you see me? You can see me. Very good. We are now taking a look at NCI. Who gave me NCI? Kashera. Thank you, Kashera. Kashera always brings me one, my core group. You guys, you dominate the show, but then you are the show. Half the time, you're the only ones here. God, I love you. Love you guys. Kashera wants to look at Neo Concept International Groups. We'll do that. She finished today at 63.75 cents. We'll call it 64. She was up just about 1% today, which is just a little over 6 cents. Nope, my bad. Just a little over a half a penny. Half a penny. That's all she moved today. She is on the NASDAQ, so you get all those benefits we were talking about at the beginning of the show. So this company is based out of Hong Kong. That is China. After the 100 years went by, Great Britain had to give it back, so we just don't call it Hong Kong anymore. It's Hong Kong, China. Neo Concept International Limited provides one-stop apparel solution in Hong Kong. The company offers a suite of services in the apparel supply chain, including market trend analysis, product design and development, raw material sourcing, production, and quality control and logistics management. It sells knitwear apparel products under the Less 100 Seals brand. The company serves brand owners, apparel sourcing agents. Now, going straight to the news. Well, before we go to the news, let's take a look at their products. This is their website. It was in Chinese, but who cares? Pictures don't matter. This gives you an idea. Are you going to go forward for me? I'll refresh it. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. All right, now go forward. There you go. Not that I think any of this stuff is really all that pretty. Knitwear to me just isn't hot. But, you know, somebody likes it, and it is warm if you're looking for warm. Well, the company made a deal October 22nd, 2 days ago. The company is thrilled to announce the successful completion, it's a done deal, of its transformative acquisition of its intellectual property and research development capabilities from its affiliate, Neo Concept Company Limited. This gains them complete control over their brand assets. That less 100 Seals and Sue brands, they're very big over in China. We've never heard of them, of course, but they're very big over there. This strategic acquisition empowers NCI with full ownership of the esteemed less 100 Seals and Sue brands, along with all related trademarks and trade names. Additionally, the transfer includes NCH's talented R&D teams, further enhancing NCI's potential for innovation. So they've gotten full control of their company is what you're basically saying. They've been selling these products and marketing them and doing all this work, but they've been getting them from somebody else. Now they're vertical. Now they control from start to finish. So this is a good thing for them. Any more information I found? I didn't find anything else. So let's start over here with the relative volume. Ooh, way down, dropping from 2.5 million down to under a million. 900,000 shares moved today. Share structure for this Chinese company. I got to say, most Chinese companies I respect because they don't go overboard with shares. They have low share counts in most of these companies. I like that. But being a Chinese company, you never know what could happen. I don't think apparel is going to have any problem. But, you know, certain companies that deal with high tech or information could just disappear off the market. China could just take them over. I mean, just take them and they could disappear. And that's one of the things we always have to worry about with foreign companies. They could be removed from the market. A war could start up over there. There goes that stock. Market cap in this company, 11.3 million. Are they making money? Yes, but they're losing it. Over the last 3 years, they've been up and down from 30 to 44 million, back down to 22. They lost 50% from 2022 to 2023. But look at that profit margin, right? They went from 5.3 million just down to 4.4. It didn't drop 50%. Not at all. I'm liking that. Let's see here. What is our quarterly reports? Nope. Don't get them NASDAQ right. Take a look at our balance sheet. Not much in the bank. It's about $750 million. Total assets, call it 12 million. Total liabilities, call it 12 million. We are just under. In stockholder equity. It falls into the deficit category now of $305,000 that we're holding deficit. It ain't much, but it's not positive. And, well, we do have why didn't I have this one opened? Or did I? Ah, right, because it's about the acquisition. And that one's really old, so we're not going to go into that one either. So there you go, folks. They've made an acquisition. They've bought up basically the rest of their company. They are now in charge of everything. They control the back end of their business and now the front end of their business. And they got the brand names, which don't mean anything to us. You know, think of two big brand names in your mind in America. They just got them over there in China. So let's take a look now at NCI. No, don't throw an S on there. How many of you just did that? How many of you just said NCIS? I heard you. All right, NCIS. Going back full year. That may be the start of it. What day is that? April 24th, 2024. Okay, so this company just came on the market. Don't have to go back that far, do we? 6 months would cover it. Our high, 52-week high, if you want to call it that, is $9.35. Looked like that blasted off the day she came on the market. And sad to say, following the footsteps of most new companies, she crashed, coming down way deep, looking stupid. You wonder why you even came on the market. They're just kicking themselves right now. She fell all the way down here to under $1. Can you believe that, folks? Under $1. I didn't see a warning. I didn't see a warning from the NASDAQ, and she's been under $1 since she came on the market virtually. How sad is that? Now, again, we do have a bunch of supports and resistances in here. I can spread this open so that they don't blind us. Doink, too much. That'll work. So here's our 50-day MA finally coming onto the board. Took a long time for the price to get to it. I would have thought that would have happened faster. She got up on top of the 50 here, but look at the change of attitude. Look at these little itty bitty baby teeth down here underneath the 20. Medium size when she got on top of the 20, right there. And what happened when she got on the 50? Adult teeth. Fangs came out. Arrgh. And now look, we are blasting off up here. So this is looking good. These tiny bars are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The volatility is coming into the game. You can definitely see when she runs, when she has volume. So you're going to watch this when she has volume. On a downtrend right now would be a good time to consider it right now. She's sitting on that 50, which is where she's always sitting before she takes off again. She comes down, rolls around, flies. Comes down, takes a bigger roll around, and flies. Now that the bars are this big, you could have a very big roll around. Now, this was going through days, folks. Days. So, patience plays. These are swing plays by all means. 4 hour, you can't see squat diddly on that. Let me get in. Yeah. Did it again. It's the same thing. You just get a better view of what's going on. Each pup tent is bigger than the one before. And here we go. We're starting to bounce off of the 200, which was falling totally flat right here where we teepeed. And now our 200 is starting to climb. Our oscillators did fall. Of course they're going to fall. They're all curving down. And as the price is curving up, they're all curving up right now. Looking like she could be ready for a run. And if she's going to follow suit, if she's going to just keep going through here, we've got a big blast off coming. Let go. We got a lot of my teammates like to have dead space on the far side so that you can draw stuff like this and you can get an idea. You've got to now put in your mind how high this can be. We're down here at 62 cents. We hit it here at $1.76. Now at current times, it's at $1.90, right? So by the time she gets up there, that could be 220, 230, a big rip. Sell on the way up, folks. Do not take the full load all the way up. You're going to get tired. You're going to fall. No, not you, but the price. I assure you, everything comes down. And if you lock in your gains between each one of these spreads, you're not going to lose money ever. Even when it crashes, I got to tell you, it feels great to successfully have a trade go through and make money. But it feels even better to get out of a stock just before it falls. Oh my God, does that make you feel like Zorro? I mean, that is just, I got out before it fell. So yeah, selling on the way up is great. And when it starts to fall, you will actually feel good because you were totally in control. You played it the right way and you know it. You know it. And if you're over there at Penny Boys, tell me. I want to pat you on the back too, because self-control in the markets are hard. People get greedy and they want as much as they can get rather than as often as they can get it. That's the game changer. Quit going for as much and start going for as often and watch and see if your piggy bank don't explode and you have to keep buying new ones. Let's see what we got down on our hourly chart. No, let's just come straight down to our 15-minute. Well, maybe we better look at that hour because that's like crazy. We're on our 200, ripped right up to the top there, came down. Yeah, she came down hard and fast. So like a rubber ball, she's skimming underneath the water, coming back up, right back up. Fast fall, very fast fall. I would expect a fast climb on the other side. There's a lot of mimicking going on here. That first one looked rounded. Do you remember? It looked rounded. This one looked teepeed. There's a lot of mimicking going on here. So I'd watch this stock. And our oscillators, I am loving our oscillators. All of them are at the cusp of turning up the heat right now. All starting to get hot. Let some volume come into this. And this bad boy is going to be being played over there at Penny Boys. Who brought this to me today? Was it Kashira, I think? Yeah, this may be one we want to watch tomorrow. Big roll up. Nice steady climb all day there. Sideways. Look at how much activity. Pre-market, after market. That was a lot. Holy cow, what a fall. Sideways activity. Now, it does surprise me that she didn't break out here. when the 200 finally starts to level off, this is lagging behind. Everything you see here, this bend right here, means that the price started to come up somewhere back there 200 days ago, something like that. I think it's actually like 4 hours. This should have started to climb immediately. The fact that she's lagging behind, taking her good old time, isn't real inspiring. But I have seen a lot of sleepers that once they get where they need to be, they launch. And right now, we've got everything perfectly lined up. Every single MA, fluidly, smoothly, crossed right over the 200. We had a nice surge going here. This is all after market. This is nice. She's come back down. Look at how many times she's bounced on that 20. That's full respect. This tells me she doesn't have any intentions of coming down. She's building up here, putting down her foundation, going sideways. Why sideways? Most of the time because she refuses to fall, but she needs more help before she can climb. So she's waiting on support. These MAs are moving supports. Our supports and resistances are locked. They'll never move forever and ever. These are always moving. But there's supports and resistances depending if they're over us or under us. So when these come up and she can finally tag one of those, see if that doesn't help her rise. That may be exactly what she needs. Let me take a peek over here, see what's going on. Oh, I'm going to blind you. That's what happens. Nobody else is coming in. Well, that's okay. Sparrowhawk Racing Team. Hello, buddy. I love that name. What a name it is. Going through. I like to see all the chats up there. Hello, David. How you doing? Oh, LT's just chatting away here. Wow. Hey, thanks, girl. I always worry that you guys don't get enough attention. With Taylor, I knew somebody was talking to you. You didn't feel ignored, but you guys are so considerate. I come back after the show and go through all of these, see what you were saying. And especially when I didn't know, I wasn't showing you the screen. Oh, poor John. He has no idea. We need to be able to turn on the mic. You absolutely do. There should be a little red dot up here that you guys can hit. But you know somebody would overdo it and just send me into convulsions. So do I have anything else over here to share with you? Let me take a look at our next stock. Almost did it. Almost did it. That would have been embarrassing. Yes, we got one more here. This came in at the very end of the day. Where'd you go? There you are. I knew I had you. All right, this is NVCT, another biotech. My favorites. I just love talking about these. These are so much fun. This came to me via Brian, my boy. Thank you, Brian. You know how I feel about biotechs. So, NVCT. Gee whiz. All right, let's see if I can just open up another page here because I don't want to take away my highlights. Probably needed to do that because there was no information. All right. Obviously, it's a biotech. They're working with cancer therapeutics. Do we have to go much deeper than that? Please. I am going back here to the end of August, the beginning of September. The company gains on their FDA orphan drug designation for cancer therapy. That's this news here. The company announces orphan drug designation granted by the FDA for NXP 800 for the treatment of ARID 1A, deficient ovarian fallopian tubes, and primary perineal cancers. Thank you, Brian. Oh, boy, I appreciate it, buddy. But that was great news. Orphan drug. A lot of companies right now, for business purposes, are concentrating on unmet medical needs. They're looking for problems out there people have that there's no drugs at all. And they actually look for drugs that have already made it through phase 1 and phase 2. They're looking for characteristics with these drugs, and they are trying to find one that'll work on these diseases. Well, when you're working on a drug for disease that there's no drug for, the FDA will assist you. They can give a fast track, which is just that. It helps you get through all the trials faster. It can give you orphan designation. That's going to help you get through. There's another one too. I can't remember at the moment. So getting orphan designation is a good thing. It means the FDA is going to be assisting them to help them get this through. How much faster? that's a very subjective thing. It's just at least the FDA is on our side now. Then we got a bunch of conferences, presentations, summits, blah, blah, blah. They're out there talking about their drugs, which is what they got to do. They got to go out and show the test results. They got to show investors. They got to show not just investors like us, but I mean investors who are going to invest in the company, buy their big shares, their preferred B and their warrants and stuff like that. Was there any disclosures? Did I have a chance to check this? Not since the end, and it happens to be the same date as well. Same date as what? Same date as what? All right. Yeah, for getting the FDA grant for their orphan designation. So I don't see any new, fresh news here for this company out of America, New Jersey. Always important to know what country they're from. Their relative volume, well, relatively speaking, it's really good. It's like 150% up. That's great, except it's really, really down there. 100,000 shares is what she's doing as a daily average. Today, she did 150% more, 250,000 shares. So percentage-wise, it's great. But share-wise, man, she's way under the radar right now. Share structure for the company. Decent share count. Got about 18, 19 million outstanding. No clue what the insiders own. No clue what the float is, except to say it won't be any higher than roughly 20 million and could be considerably less. Wow, look at that price. Did something just happen there? It had to happen. What happened there? It was not 875 when we looked at it. I can't even remember the price. Can we rewind? Can we? Yeah, something happened. We're up to 875 now. Almost 3% gain. She's jumped 25 cents. I must have missed the price of this stock when we started, because this is definitely not a penny stock. We like to look at penny stocks under $5. At least start in the morning under $5. Maybe this was under $5 then, because I noticed the market cap. It's like 18 million, and we've got 158 million market cap. What kind of price is that? And that's when I realized it's really up there, because you multiply shares times price to give you market cap. Personally, I don't pay attention to market cap unless every company has the same amount of shares. It just doesn't make sense to me. A company that has 1 billion shares at a nickel looks to be a better company than a company that has 10,000 shares or 1 million shares at $10. It just doesn't make sense to me. So personally, I know banks look at them and all that stuff, but I know a lot of you like your market cap, so I like to give them to you. No money in this biotech annually. No money quarterly. Any money in the bank? Heck yeah. We got about 18 million in the bank. That's about all we got. 18 million. They got no investments. Nobody owes them any money. They got no orders. That's it. They're just saving their pennies. Total liabilities, 5-6 million. So we've got strong stockholder equity here. That's a good thing. We've got about $12.5 million in equity, and we've got 18 million. Jeez. See, I'm looking at 75 cents there as a price based on assets. Sometimes you want to look, sometimes you don't. And there's a lot of other things. That's just one way to figure out the price. Don't think that is the way. There are so many different ways. That's what people talk about all the time. But in this case, it doesn't exactly work out to our favor. Let's see here. Form 8K at the end. I'll peek at it just because it's a material change. Press release for the company. We've looked at that 3 times. That's it. I'm out of here. That's it. All right. We've looked at everything. I'm digging around trying to find something to talk about. And there's nothing here. There's nothing here. It's a biotech. All the technical stuff will put you to sleep. Back it up, Charlie. Let's see what the yearly chart looks like. All righty. Well, not as bad as I was expecting. She has been on a downtrend, and obviously you can see where our 200 is at, way the heck up there, and she was way down here underneath the 200-day average, so she was already out of the game. She met it here. This was back in March. Do I see any reverse splits? No. So we were like $12.10 back here. Hit a low of $5.85. We did that in May, and right now we are somewhere in the middle at about $8.75, looking grand. Look at that chart. That's an atypical breakout right there. Price underneath the 200, bouncing off the 200 haul. No doubt about it. And she's ripping. Every single oscillator going to the moon. Wish this was our 4-hour. 4-hour is going to have her way up there. Yeah, she's broke out way down here days ago. Shoot, 6-7 days ago she broke out. And it was a very gentle breakout. She was all over the 200. So it's not like we could expect the breakout. It should have happened back here, right there. That would have been a great one in this one. But then she just started drooping again. But now she is in a really strong position. All of our MAs are nice, evenly spaced, even underneath the 9. Nothing's too far apart. Our price is floating on the 9. I'm not worried about wicks. Let the wicks come down. Matter of fact, if you see a wick up here on the 9 and the bar stays on the 9 and the wick goes through a bunch of MAs, expect a surge. I see it over and over and over again. I call that a pillar. When you see the building on the ground and the foundation go through a whole bunch of levels of dirt, normally that says I'm going up. So watch for those. These are all fine. Everything's looking good, like she wants to continue climbing, and she's doing this just on regular volume. We do have some strong pops in here. I'll give you that. She is turning green. They are getting bigger, so I correct myself. Her volume is growing. Let's come on down to the 1-hour view. Whew, God, look at this, folks. These are nice, steady plays every single day. I mean, a swing trade you could have a good time here as well. Get in the morning, get out in the afternoon. There's nothing wrong with, starting an entry down here and an exit down there. As long as you get out, I know then you curse me because it ran up pre-market and you missed your money. And then it ran up. Folks, I'm not worried about how high it's going to go. I'm just worried about locking in those gains. A check in your hand isn't worth as much as a check in my bank. Put that check in my bank and now we can talk. That's something to me. A check in your hand that you're waving in front of me, yeah, it looks good, but it isn't mine, is it? I can't really spend it. So I like to bank my money before I go into the next game. Let's take a look at our 5-day, 5-minute. It's looking good. Actually not looking bad. Long chart and the short chart. She's using her MAs. She's respecting them completely. She does have bounces. She does work up and down. But if we were to come in here and start throwing up our supports and resistances, which is just a matter of underlining, and it doesn't matter where you do it. If you see a straight line somewhere, like right there, get out of there. I was just looking at one spot. I'm not looking across the entire board. I looked at this spot right here, and I seen that it lined up with this one right there. So my mind just presumes if between these two distances, if it lined up, chances are it's going to line up in a whole bunch of more places down the way. And look at that. Bam, 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 bam. Now all of a sudden it looks like we've got some organization in the screen. I know the more lines you put in, it looks disorganized. But when you start going to the minute chart and you see those gaps close up and you're just moving from one gap to the next, they're not too close. They're perfect. So this is how we get our supports and resistances, right? Bing, bing, bing. You can put them underneath or you can put them on top, wherever anything is bouncing or hitting its head. And now, obviously, if I'm going to be climbing, I want these things up over top. I'm just looking around. I can see we've got a few up here. Now, when you come down, you can adjust them, but get them in there, folks. And once you do have your supports and resistances all drawn in, you'll never, ever have to move them. You can trade for 10 years. Leave those supports and resistances there. I'm using supports and resistances from 5 years ago, and they're working. So don't worry about cluttering your page. If you want to get rid of the lower ones as you're moving out of that area, get rid of the lower ones. But keep your supports and resistances. One day you may need extra grocery money. Come on in there. Find a hot stock. Get in over top of a support, out over the other one, and sell. Send it to your bank by wire. Go get your groceries. It's just that easy. It really can be. We have people doing 6, 7, 8 trades a day over at Penny Boys. A lot of our teammates do 5 trades a day just as their routine. They get their 5 trades done by noon, they're done. That's their goal. They just want to get 5 wins, 5 trades. Now, you know you're going to lose. So the whole key here, folks, is to make sure your losses are less than your wins. If you have a 3-to-1 ratio, you can lose 3 times to equate to 1 win. So you win twice, you're 6 times away from losses. You would have to lose 6 times your loss ratio, what you always set up. You're winning your ratios. Always make sure you're at least at your ratio of 3 or bigger. And you're never going to lose money if you grab those probable moves. Not quite sure what I mean? Come on over. Down there, folks, there's a link. Yeah, there is. Down there is a link to Penny Boys. Come on in. Every day is different. Every day is different. We are sharing information on how we're trading there. So we don't just have to talk. I got pictures. You know how creative I get. I'm always looking for ways to share information to make it easy to understand. You got a question, ask your question. I'm not the only guy there. We got other people over there too who are eager to answer your questions. And the later in the day it gets, because the first half we're pretty much trading hard. First half of the day is definitely when you want to be paying attention to your trades. Lunchtime, it gets slow. People start looking around, asking questions. After lunch, we are playing, but there's a lot of education going on. And when the market closes, there's a lot of conversation going on over there, folks, about stocks. In the evening, people picking each other's brains, and our team members are in there. You'll know they're a team member because it's a bright green glow in the dark name. Come on in. Spend some time with us. Go to the free members page. It isn't going to cost you anything. See what you can learn. Spend some time with us during the day and see what you can earn. How about that? Learning and earning. We're going to have to put that next to my as much as you, the more you know, the more you can grow. Let us see what's going on over here. What time is it? 5:21. Let's see. I'm scrolling up to see what comments are here, see what tickers. I think we can fit one more ticker in here. Somebody that brought one in. SPZI, that came in from right now. I'm familiar with it. I haven't looked at it, so I can't say one way or another if that's a good one or a bad one. Right now, put it in second time. Well, looks like we're going to look at SPZI. How about that? Fine, let's do it. SPZI, now because I don't have anything set up, we're going to go to my normal routine, which is completely different. When I do research for you guys, I try not to waste your time, but it really isn't wasting your time the way I do research. I just kind of move quick because I need to see information quick. So I've got a routine, and basically I will start off on this page and then start from the left to the right and just hit all the number pages, then come back and read the text pages, and then go look at the chart. So we are looking at ticker SPZI, Spoos Inc. No jokes. Cut it out. No snickering in the audience. Can't think. Spoos finished today at 0058. She was up almost 14% today. She is on the lower tier of the OTC, the lowest, the pinks. Pinks are the most riskiest tier out there because they don't have any validated information. We look for green ticks down here. Green ticks are validated information. It's normally the only information you get. And in case you didn't know, I think it's July of next year, pinks are no longer going to be called pinks on the OTC. They're going to be called OTC ID. You have ID, pinks, QB, and QX. They're going to call these the ID. And when you fall off the ID, you'll fall down to pink limited. It won't be ID limited. It'll be pink limited. But that's still a ways away. They tell us, too, that she has a shell risk. The definition of shell risk means they're actually in business. They're doing something. They're just not reporting any revenues. When in truth, that may not be right. They passed a rule a while ago that if you make an acquisition and acquire assets, that's considered an act of business. And if you just did that, you must be in business. So they say you're in business and making money and not reporting it. That may be the case. So the company, another company out of New Jersey, Somerset, Spoos is in the process of changing its name to JP3E Holdings. Good. I don't like the name Spoos. JP3E targets 3E energy industries: energy, eatables, and education. Who came up with those 3 E's? Energy, eatables, and education. Real estate. Okay. JP3E has 2 wholly owned subsidiaries, JP Energy Global and JP Energy Global Group. Okay. Gotcha. The purpose JP Energy Group's purpose is buying and selling food such as sugar, chicken paws. We go into this again. Multiple agriculture products and other related commodities. Chicken paws. I hear you giggling. Chicken paws are just the foot. If you ask for a chicken leg, you get a whole bunch of leg, not just the paw. And there are people that eat the fingers. They want the fingers of that claw, and they call it a paw, not a claw. So, and they sell a lot of chicken paws. We've seen a couple of deals here with companies selling ship loads. We're talking those vessels of chicken paws. It's like, really? I guess Americans don't eat them, so we send them somewhere else, don't we? And let me see the other one. Multiple agricultural products and other related commodities while acting as principal and owner of the commodities and not merely as a broker. I remember looking at this company. This is the one that sold those chicken paws. I remember this. JP3E's business model utilizes vertical chains of supply through which its beneficial commodity transactions are consummated. If I remember correctly, I remember reading they had gotten some warehouses, and the warehouses already had stuff in them. And when they got the warehouses, they got the stuff in them too. So they were going to be making money on that. So let's see. We're going to start with the relative volume and work our way over to the text. We have increased our volume from about 16 million a day over the last 30 days to 22.5 million today. So something's going on. Share structure. Oh, God. All right. Wow. All right. We got 5.8 billion shares on the market. And how many do they have available to put on the market? 5.8. I mean, there's just a few thousand shares left over. That's all they got. They are crammed up, folks. They've got nothing. If they needed money, I don't want them to sell any more shares, but if they needed to sell shares to us or big investors, they have none. They can't make any money. So what have they got to do? Well, they can restock the bank in two ways. They can either ask for more shares, just increase the AS, or they can do a reverse stock split if there's too many shares on the market. How many shares are on the market? Oh, only 5.4 billion. Uh-oh. And what's the price? Well, when the stock starts approaching a penny and you have over 1 billion shares, we've been seeing pinks do a lot of splits, especially if the stock has run for 2 or 3 days. There it goes. Bam. Now, they do have to warn us. I read it. I've seen a few here where there was only 3-day warnings, but the rule says you have to have 5-day pre-warning. It can be done in a filing. It can be done in a press release. Can't be done on Twitter or something like that. You've got to tell us you're going to do a reverse stock split. I would expect one. Now, they can't do one unless we voted on it and approved it. So it's going to be in a shareholder meeting, one of the last couple, if they voted on it. And I haven't seen one not approved if they had to vote on it. They all get approved, all at management's discretion to use whenever they want. This is looking itchy. They need shares bad. They can't make any money without any shares to sell. They're all out in the market. So I would expect this to jump. Geez. I'm thinking at least a 10, but I bet you they come ripping it. I'll bet you they come out with a 1 in 100 or something like that. Just a feeling. I haven't read anything yet. Maybe we should dive into that. Market cap, we're just closing in on 30 million. No money. Now, how do you have warehouses and all this? Okay, yes, that's where we want to see the money. Virgin money. Okay, I love that. Finally, we got money in the picture. June of this year, we've had nothing up until this point. 1.8 million. Cost them 1.4 million. They got to keep $500,000. Okay, that's good. That's better than putting money out. They better start making money. If they don't have any shares to put on the market, they've got to pay fees. Every filing costs money. These filings aren't free. It's like filing your taxes, and you got to pay them $500 when you file your taxes. Some people have to do that. So they needed money. I'm glad to see that's coming in. Take a look at their balance sheet. They don't have much in the bank. $68,000. Wow. That money they just made is virtually all their assets. $549,000. Oh, liabilities are over. But, yeah, it's over. So it's actually like $250,000 of deficit. But there's some other numbers that have come into play here. capital surplus, retained earnings. The numbers there, you can see we're real close here between 9.6 and 10 million. Real close. So we've ended up with some positive stockholder equity. Instead of holding 200 negative, we're holding 200 positive. Not a bad deal. So they've just come into revenues. They had profits, and we've got stockholder equity with their magic math over here. So things aren't looking too bad. Not great, but I mean, she's in decent shape. She's got her head above water. We've got no filings since 2008, and our most recent quarterly report. That's all we've got to look at over here, except the news. Let's see what's going on. All right, let's go back just a wee bit here. Spoozy, Blocks Cross, and JP3 announced the global trade financing platform is live. So they got a trading platform. We should probably dive into that. I'm not thinking they're talking a website. They're talking a trading platform where people can put their chicken paws up and have people bid on them, see what they can get for their chicken paws, something like that. A message from the CEO. This would probably be a pretty good one to dive into because the messages from the CEO, they like to brag about what they've accomplished and they want to tell you about their dreams. So you normally get a good picture of what's going on and what's already happened. Our strategy revolves around three key areas: real estate development, commodity trading, and trading financial and global payments, whatever the heck that is. So you've got an idea of what they're doing there. Let's see what else we got in the news. Nope. Yep, that's right. JP3E completes second aluminum shipment with Blue Cross Trade Finance platform. Oh, the platform's working for them. 1,500 MT shipped to date. I don't know what that means. Every business has its own technical jargon. First shipment of chicken paws to China. Whew, we've been waiting to get rid of those things. God, they're ugly to look at. You ain't ever seen one? Just look it up. Just put in chicken paws and go to images. Just looks like a naked chicken paw. It's pink or orange or whatever color you call it, and they eat those. Whatever. Let me see. Company accelerates with major corporate milestones towards uplisting. Really? Now, are they thinking of going to the QB or are they thinking of going to the NASDAQ? QB, right there. QB market, filing Form 10. So they're talking about it here. Serious. So we should see that over here. You need independent directors to uplist. I do believe you need them on the QB. Never thought about that, but I'm almost sure you absolutely do. So they're going to have to list their independent directors here. And if they haven't got them, they're going to have to get them. That's just part of it. Uplist plans here. We got a date. Looking for a date. Don't see a date there. Scrolling. Let my eyeballs look for a date. No date. But we do see that they plan on uplisting to the QB. So they have aspirations. They have contracts that they're fulfilling right now. That's all good stuff. Corporate milestone. And the last piece of news came out 2 days ago. JP3E and China Petroleum Technology and Development Corporation, that's three companies, China's largest institutional trading company, announced partnership. Oh, shoot. Let's see what's going on here real quick. This partnership marks a significant milestone with the first coal shipment initiated under the collaboration, utilizing Blue Cross's proprietary trade finance platform. Last company I got into that was shipping coal to China, it was a huge shipment. It was like 2 weeks later, the company went bankrupt. It's like, what the heck? That's one I'm holding. It tricked me. Just didn't see that coming. The shipment consists of 50 metric tons of coal sourced from Indonesia. The transaction is a key step in the larger agreement between JP3E and CPTDC. It's what they did with the chicken paws. They had one small one, which really wasn't small. It was pretty big. But the next one was really big. It was like 3 times as big or something. Chicken paws. It's funny. Then they talk about the deal they've made with these companies, how big they are. CPDDC has developed stable large-scale markets in Central Asia, Russia, Africa, the Americas, the Middle East, the Asia-Pacific regions, and maintains sound and collaborative relationships with 3,400 partners, 1,100 international staff, and since its establishment over 30 years ago has accumulated over $44 billion in contract value. So they're partnering up with somebody who's got experience, success. This is looking really good for the company. Just so remembering correctly. All right. So it is a U.S. company, but they're doing a lot of business in China. Just, I have noticed that before. So that's everything that's going on. They've just made a deal, and you're going to want to dive into this some more, folks. The CEO newsletter and this 3-tier deal they got going on here. Definitely want to get all that information, but we've got catalysts. I can definitely see that going on. So what we need to see now is how is it going to affect the chart? Is the chart hot? Brain fart. Oh no. No. Oh no. Who's laughing at me? It ain't funny. It ain't funny. It ain't funny. It ain't funny. Oh, brain fart. No, no, no. There weren't any pictures, folks. We were talking about coal and petroleum. And I am so sorry. All right, moving on and wearing the fart on my sleeve. Going back a year on, what was that ticker? Bloody hell. Spoozy. Oh, now you see it. Thanks. SPZI. Ay. I seen the chart and it looked good. Bring it back up. That is the 4-hour chart. Let's take a peek at the full year just so we got an idea of what's going on. That's the hour. I stuttered. Okay. I'm going to draw a support right there. I can see that one real easy. So I just want to get that in there. So we had a high here, a 52-week high, 1.3 cents. We did that back in May. Don't see any reverse stock splits here. Not yet. From there, we've fallen from that 0.13 all the way down to, looks to be about 0.0058, which is just about 50%, about 50% down. And she was on the floor over here. 0001, can't go any lower. It's the absolutely lowest you can buy a stock. And when stocks are down there, they're normally down there for a long time. Long time. Now, if it moves to 0002, you just made 100% profit. You buy it at 0002 and it goes to 0003, you made 50% profit. You're very little moves because there's no other number behind you. There's no middle between 5 and 6. There's no 5.5. It just goes 5 to 6. But it takes weeks, months, sometimes years for them to move. So we don't look at a whole lot of those. So she's come down underneath the 200. All of the MAs following her. Price underneath. She's had some dips pushed down, but you can see she came right back up and she hugged that 200-day haul. She's underneath it like a magnet, but she's hugged to it, suckled to it, took a crouch after a long time sitting on it. That's what you look for when something is going normal. When a dip happens abruptly without any catalyst or dark horse or whatever you want to call it, look for a bounce. Now, this took a while. This is on a daily chart. So that was a 1, 2, 3, 4-day bounce. Got to have some patience on your swing trades. But you'd be looking down here to see if your technicals are starting to turn up. If you're starting to get those to turn up. Am I missing one here? No, I see them all. I thought I missed one. So let's jump on down to our 4-hour chart. This is where I like to find heat, and that's heat. That is a beautiful chart. She was underneath her 200. She has turned up right now, and she is jumping. Now, you can see the size of the bars here and size here. Once she was going over that 200, over the 50, all excitement came in, jumped right off of our 200, to and through the 200 MA, floating, literally touching the 9-day as she's going up. So she's not getting too high. She's not too far away from this. She's coming back and touching it. Remember, the bottom is where the price opens. The top is where the price closes on a green bar. The price opens up at the top on a red bar because it's falling. It closes down at the bottom. So this is a nice climb. We have just broke out over the 200. All of our MAs, 200, 20, 50, and 9 are turning up right now, but they are ways away, which means you could see a period of climb here. Normally, I see a climb over the 200, the time it takes for the 20-day to get to the 50. By the time the 20-day reaches the 50, that's about the time the climb stops and comes down. Comes all the way back down to the 200. I don't care how far up it is. Normally comes all the way back down to the 200. Sell on the way up and you're not going to cry. when she comes back down to the 200, you're going to be setting up for the next play because you know you've got the other MAs coming up behind the first ones. This is looking pretty good to me. All of our oscillators are climbing. We are in the overbought right now at 72. Green bars and the MACD are getting bigger and bigger consecutively. Solid green volume here for the last 4 days. What's not to like? You picked a good one. I'm glad we looked at SPZI, SPOOS. 1 hour chart. Look at those green bars. Now, I am using Heiken Ashi bars, folks. So if my chart looks different than yours, that's the reason why. I choose it because it fills in gaps. This is the way it would look on your chart. Not bad. A lot of charts, when you deal with the OTC, there's a lot of gaps. One trade is just a minus, a little dash on the board. Tough to see. But I like to, and you can make the bars hollow or solid on the Heiken Ashi. They don't have to be in your face, bright colors like that. Here, I've only got the red solid and the greens are hollow. But that's why if my bars look different than yours, that's what it is. Don't go crazy thinking that you've done something wrong. Oh, that's definitely the wrong one. I don't even know what those are. That's what I want. So basically with Heiken Ashis, it's always red when it's falling. Always red. You don't have any red and green in there. And it's always green when it's climbing. So it's pretty easy to see your trends. Also, solid lines. It's like a dot to dot, completely filled in so you can see your cup and handles, your pennants, your flags. You can see W's and M's, a W for winner. It'll run after the W, C and M. That's murder. It's going to fall after you see that. So that's why I like it. So we've got a solid breakout here. I need to get some more supports and resistances. We just drew the one there. She's gotten through her 200. This would have been a good place to get in. Safer place would have been up here because she could have hit her head right there and come back down, possibly. But you can see she's floating. She did, look at the gap. She was pulling air. She came back down. Right there, she has come back down and hit. As long as she keeps touching that 9-day SMA, she's in control, folks. As long as she stays in touch with that, everything else is going to follow her in accordance. And this could grow for a long time. If she starts to run, anytime the stock does something strange, you do something strange. If it runs, you sell. If it falls, you sell. Don't just sit there watching it because it could be a long time before it does this again or a long time before it comes back up. Taking a look now at our 5-day, 15-minute. She's up there, folks. She's on her 20 now. She's gotten off of the 200, off of the 50, never touching it. She's getting lighter and lighter, floating up higher and higher. She's floating primarily on the 9-day. And when she does come down, her ground is the 20. She's coming down right now to the 20. Now, the further you fall, the more momentum you're picking up, chances are you may crush that 200 and go down to these stronger MAs. The way I like to think about it, I know this is going to be silly, but I love it. Think of the 9-day as balsa wood. You can break that so easy. Think of a 20 as plywood. Pretty strong. Think of a 50 as a plank. And think of your 200s as 2x4s. So when you think of the price bouncing on them, that's how much strength they have. And we got a 50 and a 200 right there. I'm thinking with this velocity coming down, she's going to break that 20 and she's going to come down to the strong 250, which are together. That's very strong. She'll hit that, skid sideways a little bit, boom, and then start to go. That's our hope. Can't promise anything. And right now, the oscillators aren't going to show that because she's in a downtrend coming down to that 9-day. 5-day, 5-minute. Yeah, we're bouncing. We're on that 50 on the 5-minute. Got close, didn't quite hit it. Probably should have. Right now, we are dipping underneath it. Right now, she's at a junction point, folks. Our oscillators are just trying to hit the very bottom of that cusp to come up. So this looks good. I would put SPZI on my watch list for tomorrow. I'm going to put it on my watch list. This has catalysts. It's got fresh financials, money just coming in. This is starting to build up. The stock is on a climb. Our 200's climbing. I'm liking this one. I would put this on my watch list. Go out and draw up some supports and resistances. I'm not going to draw any more for you. I'm going to let you draw the rest of them. All right, we're going to call that the show. I can turn this off now. Here we go. Who's in my window? Did you see someone peek in? Thought I saw someone peek in. That ghoul next door will not leave me alone. She thinks she's pretty. Don't tell her she's not. All right, folks, I appreciate your time. I do apologize for the one brain fart. It happens. I tried not to do it. I get excited and I just start picking up speed and picking up momentum, and voila, before you know it, I'm over there. And did I mention? I didn't. I just wanted to let you know, in case you've had a great day, I've helped you. I've given you a good piece of information. You were over at Penny Boys and you cashed in on something I said. We got a shout out button over here at Google. I feel silly saying it, but hey, you can't get tipped unless you put out your tip jar, right? Down there by the comment buttons, there's a dollar sign. You can hit that dollar sign and you can donate to me. You can tip me, whatever you want to do. And hey, I take tips. I am not too proud. I was a waiter for many, many years. It was my best job ever, to be able to serve people who thank me and then thank me by giving me money. Oh man, what a job. Thank me and pay me. And that happens multiple times a day. I loved it. I think that's why I like this job so much, because I get to help so many people and I do get a lot of appreciation. I can't be perfect. I know I make mistakes, but my intentions are sincere, folks. I never, ever want to steer you wrong. At this age, you don't need any mud in your face, folks. You don't have enough time to get it off. Thank you for showing up. Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate all that you were doing out there for me. I don't even know what it was yet. I'm going to have to come back and read it later. Charlie WB, thanks for sneaking in there at the end. I don't know where you came in. I didn't have a chance to talk to you all as much as I like, but I love all of you in a generic sense. Don't get me in any trouble. Men with beards have to be careful about who they hug and who they say they love. It's a sick world we live in. We'll see you next week, folks. Have a good weekend, and I think Taylor will be here next week. Fingers crossed. Bye-bye. Funny face time.